All right, let's go ahead and watch your match. And looks like it was the middleweight finals of the BJJ Tour Florida. He gets a nice little trip here, but it looks like more he was going for a guard pull. So your initial grips I don't feel like were too bad. Um, you were able to drop your posture down. Here he kind of gets you in an armbar situation. You do it later in the match, so your knee comes in like inside his butt a little bit more. I would have probably done that, but you did a good job. Kind of the smart thing in dropping down and bringing your posture down. Here's a situation where he probably should have honestly switched to a triangle because your posture was broken. But I do see that you're bringing. Eventually, you bring your knee in, like I said, to break that. So hips a little high. Like I said, if you can bring your knee in there and kind of create some separation, I think that would be better. But you're still managing to get out here. So by the way, nice 93 brand gi. That by far is like one of the cheaper ones, but like my favorite gi to wear right now. That other than the Fuji ones, I should say. All right. Let's go back just a little bit. So comes out, switches to traditional De La Riva, it looks like, but you stomp that down. Your right knee needs to be turned just a little bit more. So he kind of broke down that knee just a little bit. So see how your knee is pointing towards the camera? It should actually be pointing away just a little bit, so you don't get at risk of breaking that down. But you regain very well. That in between. Sometimes what'll happen is like when they go here, you can drop your hip immediately and kind of negate this leg, if you will. So again, he goes for this and back into the De La Riva, turning, making sure that your knee is turned outside. Your knee's turned inside right now, so that's why your base is being compromised. But you're still doing a good job of staying up on top, not allowing him to actually sweep you. So uh, getting into a leg weave guard pass. I would put down just a little bit more shoulder pressure on that. And then one thing with this, I'll have to check your hand grip. Play with it and see which one you like better. But I like putting the hand down on the mat rather than having the leg on them. If you'll notice, like when you try it, you'll have a little bit more power with this hand. If you put it on the mat compared to their leg, they can still move their leg. Otherwise, if you're putting it on the mat, it seems to work a little bit better for me. But I think that's a preference, not necessarily a rule. So kind of switching modes here and going the knee slice, it looks like. Gets that underhook, trying to flatten him back out, or yep, you can go for a Bravo or a Darce choke there. So whenever somebody gets that underhook like that, I usually try to flatten them straight out if at all possible. So getting their back straight on the mat again, because now he's got a good opportunity to be able to try to sweep, do an old school sweep. Um, but you do a good job of putting him back down on the mat. Goes modified lockdown there for a little bit. Doesn't keep it. Um, see you start transitioning to the back from here. Anytime anybody has this position where that foot is hooked, you'll see a lot of guys either bring this shin up and then pop, take the angle for the back, or just being able to roll and go into it's like a Marcelo Garcia back take from there, where they roll over this shoulder and take the back. Go into rolls into mount a little high. The back pressure. So work on getting your butt back just a little bit, but you're still in really good position here, and I think you end up getting the submission. And honestly, a pretty good showing of position and everything as well. So you get that leg over. Good. So two options with that bow and arrow choke, just like you did, that works perfect. Pulling it this way, some people will choose to ratchet. So in other words, the shoulder is going to be behind the head, and you'll kind of like curve your the way that you choke. So like pushing forward with this, pulling back here rather than pulling straight back. But this is also a good option. About the only time you'll see people use that ratchet instead of this way is if somebody's able to peek their head out the first time and then they try for it the second time and they'll do it that way. Small little things, that aren't really even a big deal. I mean, it was a pretty dominant match. I would say when you took his back here, you were riding a little high, but since you were able to kind of tilt him and get to that proper position, that was good. Working on that when they go for De La Hiva, not compromising your knee, keeping that out a little bit more. And then the stand up, you'd been kind of critical about that, but he kind of forced the position right away. So he dropped. You could tell that he kind of went for a little sacrifice throw there, like here, but just didn't accept your foot. And then you did a really good job of keeping your base down and not getting rolled on that. So, and then the only other thing is maybe bring that knee in there a little bit to create a little bit more separation. But other than that, like I said, all in all, a really good match. Thanks for sharing.